I am joined here today with Miss Emma Kobil, and I'm so excited to have her. She is here to share her experience and really share what it was like working with the ECS method and myself as well, but also understanding how this actually changed how she set boundaries, how she created expectations in her business. So I'm going to hand it off to you to do a little introduction and tell everyone a little bit more about you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I am Emma Kobil and I'm a therapist, but I'm also a business strategist for therapists. So I help therapists develop and grow online, all private pay practices, online or in person private practices that just give them more time and location and financial freedom and let them work with ideal clients. So yeah, I'm really happy to be here.
I love it. Amazing. And we'll jump right into it. And I always like to start out just by asking you, what were some of the results that you've been the most excited about since joining into the program?
Okay, well, I'm going to start with before I even joined Growth Bridge, and I had worked with you, Naz, in the Fast Pass, just the quick month-long program. But before I even joined Growth Bridge, I did binge, I would say, all of your podcasts. And I was like really following a lot of what you told me before this. And I had a month where after just listening to you and following a lot of what you said, I went from, a 3K a month in my business to like a 13K a month or something like that in my business. And this was before I even joined the Growth Bridge.
I love
So
it.
so that was like a really great win. And it just, listening to your podcast always gave me so much hope. I had to delay joining because of a conflict I had for a little while, but I was like, okay, if I can just get through to when I can start the Growth Bridge with Nas, like I'll be okay. But I would say that, before working with you, I was feeling this sort of a little bit of like hopelessness, I guess, because I've worked with other coaches, and a lot of what I've been told is like the way you have to grow is to hire like a setter and to hire a closer and to make this big kind of complicated business. And I was feeling like that was really just not for me. And I didn't even feel like it was like really ethical, honestly, like a lot of the things I was kind of
Ah,
being told. And so I just think that I like some of the payment of the setters and like how that all works and stuff, it just rubbed me the wrong way, as well as I just didn't want a business like that
yeah.
where I was managing all these people and everything. And so I was feeling kind of hopeless, and I was, well, I don't know if this is actually something I want to do, if this is what it's going to look like, as well as coming into the coaching, and it's obviously different from being a therapist, but I have this business background and I know how to do this and I'm really passionate about it, but it is something that is a little different. And so I would say that joining your program, this is not really a part of Growth Bridge, but you really quickly helped me develop boundaries in my actual program with clients, but also in my business itself, so that I felt supported, so that I felt like this could be a business that is actually enjoyable and where I am helping, but it actually fits around me and my lifestyle. And it's not, I have to do it this way and I have to go this burnout way or bust, essentially. So I would say that has been, I mean, there are so many wins, but like really you just giving me back hope of what my business could be. Like I've said this to my partner a lot. I am just so happy I found you. Like I really am, that a Facebook ad like put you in my life, and I was like, oh, okay, there's a different way of doing this. And I feel like I just learned so much like all the time from you, like from our calls, as well as I still listen to your podcast, every one that comes out. Like I just, I learn so much, grow so much through all this as
I love
a,
that. Ugh.
yeah, in
That
what
was
I
like the best response ever. You know what? Because I don't think a lot of people acknowledge the fact that sometimes we think of wins so in a way that I reached this amount or I did this, and those are all wonderful. I don't want to take away from those amazing, incredible like goals that we reach. But just having, like you mentioned, hope, having like feeling like you can make a business that's your own, that feels like you and feels good to you. Because I know for myself, I even experienced that for such a long period of time, thinking that gosh, I'm going to have to hire setters and closers. And I did that. And I was feeling so frustrated. So I knew exactly what you had gone through, and feeling like there was just one road to that version of scaling and that version of success that can feel really frustrating. And it's the reason why so many businesses do close their doors. They don't end up making it, or they burn themselves out in the process. And I love that we were able to kind of just really quickly jump in and say, okay, we don't have to do it the way that we've been taught before. We can completely break all the rules and do it a different way. And you, even I remember, like you mentioned, setting those boundaries with your clients and you coming back and being like, oh my gosh, it just feels so good to be able to do that. And that's expertise. And I think oftentimes that expertise and authority, we talk a lot about it in marketing, but we don't talk a lot about how that actually shows up in the way we deliver and the way we hold our leadership, which is ultimately what's going to drive the success of our business long term. So I love that you shared that with me. That was amazing. My next question for you is, what was it that you were struggling with that led you to working with me in the first place?
Yeah, I would say, all of those things. I would say that one thing was, I mean, early on was kind of like how to distinguish myself, how to like how to do my messaging to set myself apart, like those kinds of maybe more I don't, they're not really that basic, but sort of more basic seeming
Yeah.
things, I guess. And then I would say that, okay, when I started to have a business and I had clients, was this like, how do I grow this thing and it feeling like out of control in all of
Yeah.
these ways? Like all my time being spent on Facebook, but being really resistant to like hiring a setter, all my time being like drained thinking about what kind of content to write or, producing results, helping my clients produce results and things like that. And just not knowing like how to set boundaries, how to do this thing. So I think that was probably the biggest thing. And one thing I really was drawn to about you and working with you is that I feel like you care about the whole person and the whole business. It's not just about getting your clients to make a ton of money or something, which is great. And you do that as well. But it's also about making sure this business feels aligned and it feels in line with what a person values and stands for and like also what they want for their lives.
Yeah.
So that's what I was struggling with was like, does this business feel like it aligns with my life and what I want for myself? Can I continue this? And I knew if Nas can't teach me how to do this in a way that makes sense for me and feels good, there's no one who really can. So I'm going to go for it.
Love that level of trust. I love that you were like, if Nas can't help me do it, then I don't know what we can do here. And
Yeah.
it's so true. Like I said, it's all about understanding your own goals, your own growth, your own vision, and being able to bring that to life with the systems and strategies that we create. So I think it's so powerful to be able to bring those two worlds together to be able to do that. I always like to ask the question, were there any objections that almost kept you from working with me in the first place?
Yeah, I would say I was like a low intent buy, honestly, when I first came into your world, which is like weird to say, but I think that like I don't think I knew enough at first. And I was in another group coaching program. And I think that I came across what you said and I thought it was like super intriguing. I would say at first, this was when I first encountered you. When I came into Growth Bridge, I was like, no objections, please. I wish I would have signed up yesterday, but when I first came into your world and I listened to a couple podcasts and listened to your bingeable stuff, I was like, this is really intriguing. But I think that some of my objections were like, that I had been in some programs before that maybe there wasn't a lot of that one-on-one
Mhm.
attention or individualized support. I also felt, I had some of this distrust of just marketing in general, kind of, I would say, of, oh, it's just sort of like sleazy marketing terms or whatever, like making stuff up and
Ugh.
who knows what's really going to be in here. And so I think I was like a little bit distrustful, I guess, but it wasn't because of you or anything you did wrong, but it was like the industry and kind
Yeah.
of what I'd experienced before. And I'd been through a few different kinds of marketing type programs. And I was, ooh, this is someone who came up in an ad for me. And I like, do I trust this?
Yeah.
So I think I had some hesitation and I don't know. And then as I started really getting to know your system and after working with you a little bit, and then after listening a ton to your podcast and your content and like understanding what you were doing, I was like, oh my God, this is so brilliant. Like, how could there be any other way? It was like this, there's no other way. What you talk with us about you're the only solution. It became that for me of, yeah, there's no one else like everything she's saying is it makes so much sense. It's what I want. It's how I want my business to look. I can't believe I thought of it a different way. So anyway, I don't know if I quite answered your question,
No,
but
you totally did. You answered it in the I think everyone always tries to do it perfectly, but you answered it in the best way ever. And something that you mentioned that I love and I'm going to iterate on is the fact that everything I teach is exactly what I actually apply, which is transparency in my marketing. I'm very clear about what's happening. You're not getting into a program to try and figure out what I do. There's a reason we teach methodology based teachings and all of that is because you really do want somebody to feel so confident by the time they're coming into your world that they're not questioning that they don't know where those blind spots are, where those missing pieces are in their mind when they're making that decision. So I actually loved that you shared that because I think it's such a integral piece of it is that we're not trying to bait and switch people. We're not trying to get people to jump into something just to see what it's all about. It's really being able to see the full picture even before you enter into working with someone. And I think that's such a powerful tool is that somebody can actually get a feel for that before they even hand over their money and work with you. So my next question for you is so far, and keep in mind, Emma has actually only been in the program for a little bit so far, but so far, how have we worked to solve your problems? What are the things that you've been the most excited about in working together so far?
yeah, and one thing I just want to kind of add to that last question is like that there's so much personal attention inside the growth bridge that it's like insane. Like I mean, it really is like individual coaching in kind of a group setting because Nas will be there with you, in it with you, spending like 25 minutes just like laser focused on your business, going through everything. And it's not just about marketing, honestly. It's all the stuff related to your business that could be coming up and going on. So you asked what am I most excited about that we're working on for me right now?
Yeah. What are the things that you saw so far that you've been the most excited about?
I would say that some of the things I've solved that I'm most excited about are, I think, I mean, it kind of pales in comparison to just like having hope for my business again. But I mean, the tangible things that we have solved are like, okay, setting clear expectations for my clients, like having boundaries, having a system with my clients, as well as like having a system for how to produce and distribute content, having a system for how to do sales calls that doesn't feel slimy to me, like how to, and also how to have some like balance in a way that, I mean, I haven't quite done that part or achieved that part yet, but I see that in my future very soon to be able to, give some of this to a VA, or that feels good that I have this vision of like how it's going to look. And again, more hope for my business. So I would say that what I feel like we've solved for is I feel like I know exactly what to do. I feel this kind of like it already is working for me, but I also feel this like every time I write a post, I'm like, how could this not work? This is so brilliant, like it sounds so good. I don't see a way in a world where this would not produce people being interested in this So anyway, and I mean, that's all thanks to Nas because I will post every week in the group, like what I'm thinking about posting, and you will come up with the most brilliant alterations or little names or changes or things that I'm like, oh, and now I feel like I'm getting it to a point where it's coming out just naturally more for me. So I feel like confident in what I'm writing. I feel like I get to have these exercises of going to a coffee shop and doing my writing, and it's like really fun and really lights me up. And then I'm done with it for the week. Like I know what I'm going to say and it's done.
You're not
So
like trying to force yourself to figure things out. It's exactly what's right there.
yeah, and I'm not like having to like dance on camera and make a million reels or show all the stuff about my life if I don't want to. It's just really about, it can be about my business. So I love that.
I love that. And I love what you mentioned, which to me is like the most important thing out of what you just said, which is like you writing your content and you being able to say, how could this not work? And it's the reason why I'm pinpointing that is that you even understanding and seeing how powerful what you're doing is for yourself. And I think sometimes that is such an incredible thing to watch for me as you even more establish your authority and your expertise as you speak in your marketing, being able to say, gosh, what I'm saying is so good. This is so amazing. Why would anyone not want to buy from me? That to me is so powerful because it really does highlight the fact that you're doing it in a way that's in integrity with you. You feel like you're able to get across your message in a way that highlights the gravity of the what you do and how powerful it is. and in a way that you know is going to resonate with other people. And to me, that's really the three biggest components of what drives conversions, is being able to do those things. So I love that you mentioned that too as well, about the part of your process. So my last and final question is, if people were on the fence, they're questioning whether or not they should work with me, should apply the easy yes method, what would you say to those people who are thinking about it?
Well, I've already referred, as I was saying to you earlier, I've already referred multiple people to you who have joined and also been so happy. So I would say I've heard this on your podcast and stuff so many times, but this is the best investment in my business I have made. And I already am like, I'm going to work with you. There's no question in my mind. I will work with you in your next program. Like, I'm already like, well, can I work with her after the Academy? What does that look like? Like, I think it is the best investment in your business that you honestly could make. And I think your business, but also like your mental health around your business in a way, and like staying in integrity, and I don't know, and helping heal your nervous system from all the trauma we get as entrepreneurs in the online space. I just think that there are so many coaches that just tell you to just push and do this and move, and it's very soul sucking and makes you feel disconnected from yourself. And so I would say that if you're wanting to run an incredibly effective, really clean, beautiful, successful business, but also feel like you can be a human being, work with Naz. She will do that for you. And every person I talk to who's worked with her says the same thing. They're like, it is the best investment in your business. It's the best thing I've done in my business. So I would say definitely book a call with her.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for being on here with us. And if people want learn a little bit more about you and what it is that you do, where can they go to find more information about you?
Yeah, so I have a Facebook group and it's called The Liberated Therapist, and you can come join, you can watch my trainings in there. I also am on Instagram as The Liberated Therapist. So would love to connect with you there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on here today with us, Emma. And for those of you listening, thank you so much. And we will talk to you next time.